Yo, bro, the last time I posted a video, Volandis still had locks. How crazy is that? What up, everybody? I'm Chris, and I'm a photographer from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And today we're going to talk a little bit, I guess, about my most recent gear path. So I've been shooting for about 15 years, semi-professionally, or at least seriously, taking the occasional paid gigs and even sometimes trying to make a living off photography. And almost exclusively for majority of that time, except for probably a brief 6 month to a year period, even then, it was with exclusively Fujifilm gear. I personally credit Fujifilm for basically making me the photographer I am today. The fact that they had that philosophy of Kaizen and would continuously upgrade and give firmware updates to older tech allowed me to get things I could still afford. So I was able to get an XT2 because it had focus peaking in different colors, and I was able to get old film lenses and stuff like that and adapt them and still have a relatively small carry with me, and learn the way I did because I had an EVF and I had the dials, and I was able to look at old videos and old things like that and learn from old film photography and things because I had the exact same dials. I did not have to translate anything in my head learning a new medium. So I love Fujifilm photography and Fujifilm cameras, and I still recommend them to a lot of my friends and people getting into photography seriously. But I recently sold all of my Fujifilm gear, and we're gonna get into why. So basically it comes down to this. After all these years of using Fujifilm gear, and they're dope cameras, and I still love their cameras, and honestly, if I had all the money in the world, I'd probably have some Fujifilm gear still. But it came down to where using EVFs and using all the tech that they have felt like I was kind of cheating myself when it came to my photography. It didn't feel like I was creating a scene in my head and trying to make that scene and capture it in camera. It felt like I was adjusting the scene that was in front of me to my liking. Mostly shooting with aperture priority, but even if I'm in manual, again, I'm looking at the EVF, I already know I'm clicking because I'm looking at the screen. I'm not saying, oh, I want this to be underexposed just by looking at the scene. I'm saying I want this picture that I see in my camera to be underexposed. And part of it is proving it to myself that I can do without that. Part of it is being stubborn, part of it, maybe just me. But I basically decided I no longer want to have an EVF or my daily carry. I didn't always feel this way, of course, over the years of using Fuji. And I don't always feel this way now for every single thing, because I do have a camera with an EVF because I want to make sure that if I'm doing portraits for myself or a client, I still have things that are tack sharp, but ultimately my main goal and what I want to use for my gear going forward, they're going to be Leica cameras. Now, I will, of course, say with Leica, of course, I've had my own experience with them. I first saw Leica in person in 2016. I was visiting San Francisco, visiting a buddy. We went to the Leica store and I got to hold the M240 for the first time, and they let me play with the camera. They let me play with the 50 Summicron. I was able to take some pictures of my friends, and ever since that day, I kind of knew I wanted a Leica. That said, Leica does do what no other brand does, or at least does not do well, which is they create as close to as an analog feeling as you can get with their cameras, with this still having the convenience of being digital, because I don't have the time nor money nor desire to deal with film and having to switch films often and having to scan and develop or send it out and wait for your scans and stuff like that. I'm not willing to deal with that, at least currently, at least not for, again, for my main desires, my main projects, etc., that I want to do currently. Who knows, that may change in the future too. But with that, again, I have a camera that gives me very little input. It's a optical viewfinder, so the only thing I see is the frame lines and my light meter saying, am I underexposed, overexposed, or right on the money? And until I take a photo, that I get no input from the camera outside of that, and I love that. And honestly, as I get better, I plan to get either a case that doesn't show my screen so I can't chimp, or who knows, in the future, maybe your boy can get an M10D. But for right now, this is as close as I can get. Who does it well? I have looked at Pixie and seen what they're doing, but I'm honestly not willing to go back to a crop for my main camera and have to deal with compensation when it comes to lenses and such. and Leica just looks good. They're easier to find. I don't have to worry about internal storage only, things like that, but I have been keeping my eye on Pixie, and I will in the future, but Leica is Leica, bro. So I talked about that brief period where I wasn't shooting Fuji. Back in about 2022 or so, I was at the time trying to make it full-time freelancing, and I ended up selling some stuff and then getting some income coming in, and I decided that I want to get the Leica SL because I wanted to shoot more manual lenses. I found out about the Leica R lenses, things like that. And a lot of my old photos with Fuji, some of my favorites are made with old film lenses and manual lenses. So I wanted to get into that. I got that camera. I enjoyed it, especially because I have big hands. I'm a big dude. I'm about 6'3", 6'4", 2-something, do something. And that big grip and those batteries, and I love that camera. And then I had a chance to get a M240 for a really good price, and ended up getting that. And I had that for about 7-8 months until I was like, this is too much money invested in gear when I'm just starting out full-time freelancing. And so I ended up selling the SL, got a couple of that Fujifilm X-H1s as my like kind of main body, and then I still have my M240 as my side body, and I still love shooting with it. I kept it as long as possible before I was eventually like, yeah, you just can't do this, bro. This is too much money. If you're trying to make a living from this, it doesn't make sense. So I sold my 240 at the time, got a X Pro 2, and then I eventually sold that again and got an X100V. Again, that was my second time getting that camera because I thought I was going to be doing more video stuff. I thought I'd use it to take more clips. I bought a cage for it, all kinds of stuff, and I eventually was like, it kind of ended up being that's not what I was going to do. And so I was no longer pursuing the freelance full-time. It just wasn't working out for me, and I got a pretty decent day job that I'm happy with now, and that allowed me to decide that I don't need all this gear. Like the main reason I have Fuji is because I need to make sure I had at least 2 bodies, 3 bodies, so I can have my main body, a backup, and also have a side body because I always want to have a daily camera. That's why I've gotten better over the years, and that's why I shoot it. Like, while I have honestly anything worth talking about outside of client stuff and things that were asked of me, it was because I always had a daily camera on me, so I want to have that. But I was like, I don't need to have all this stuff. This is not going to pay my bills. I'm no longer at the point where I'm pursuing full-time photography in a way that I'll take anything that comes to me, because I was doing that. Anything that came to me that could get me into the door of making a living with photography, I was taking that. But I no longer financially can afford to do that. At this point, for me to leave my job, I would need to either be doing exactly what I want to do in photography for at least the same amount of money, or it would have to be doing some of that other stuff that I didn't necessarily want to make a living off of, but for a significant increase of money. Neither of those things are probably going to happen just because, maybe something will happen in the future as I pursue more of my own stuff. But right now, it's not going to just fall in my lap. And that said, hey, you get an opportunity here as you get older. You get an awesome wife who says you can spend a little money. And I sold all my Fuji gear. I was saving up for the M10, but I found another M240 for an awesome price. Right now I have on the Light Lens Lab 7 Elements, or 8 element 35. I kind of like it. And then I was like, oh cool, I can just save some more money up. I got this now, and we can wait on the M10. But then I found an M10 in bargain grade on KEH. And I said my wife, hey, I see this camera. It's got a good price. I'm willing to. And she said, you sure? And she said, yes. Well, she said, well, hey, if you don't have it all right now, because I was still selling the rest of my gear, she let me hold this. And I got the M10. This is not an actual reporter. I call it the M10 paparazzi because it's not a real reporter. This is just a AliExpress skin because I love olive and green. It's my thing. Hey, where is Got a green hat, though it's not quite olive there, but olive and green power bank. Olive green and black, excuse me, power bank. Got a olive green jacket. But I love olive green. I love pink. Tangent, ADHD. But I got the M10. So with that, I now have the camera that is my daily. My M10's daily. For me, because it was going to be my main camera and not my only camera, but what I think is just my #1 camera. I wanted the better ISO. I wanted to have Wi-Fi so I can, when I take just 2 or 3 photos that I really think are good, but I don't want to take the whole card out, I was able to have Wi-Fi, batteries. I'm able to get batteries, and they have third-party batteries available that do work well with this camera. Whereas with the M240, again, low ISO ceiling, 3200 is going to be your max with color, 6400 with black and white, because it doesn't go any higher than that. And even then, it says in the camera, it says that's a push. So I think the ISO is really 3200, but this camera can push it to 6400 electronically, but that is not the actual, like, it's not actually that sensitive. It's just pushing it the same way you can push film. So while I love this camera, and I wish I could keep it right now, like, I'd rather, one, you know, this camera, while it's paid for, I would like to rebuild my stock up here. Also, this camera could go towards bills, towards savings, trips, and lenses, because there's so many third-party options, stuff like that. I want to experiment a bit more with lenses before I finally fall into what I think is going to be my trio or so of lenses. I already know one of them that's going to stick with me going forward, but we're figuring it out. So while I love this camera, and this is what got me into Leica, this is going to be going up for sale soon, because just doesn't make sense to keep it on the shelf as a backup for potential backup. And it's again, this could be, if I want to try out the Sumulux, you know, this would fund that. Summicron 50 would fund that. This was some of the 28. Again, all of this, just this kit by itself would fund some of that. Now, I also mentioned camera with an EVF, and this is gonna be like my backup / carry with me when I know I'm gonna go shoot / give to the wife camera. And I managed to catch a Leica Deluxe, the OG, the Type 109, which is the LX100 Mark I clone. I managed to catch one for crazy price. Like, it was the same price as a used LX100. It was graded as well used. I don't know if they're just being extra generous or if I'm part of the most boring Truman Show ever, but I got it for an awesome price. And I like this because, one, it allows me to, again, give my wife the camera and allow her to use it the same way she used the camera before. She can use the buttons, she can use the back screen. If she wants, she can use the EVF. The EVF isn't the greatest, but hey, this is like a 12-year-old camera. It is what it is. It has a zoom 24 to 75, f1.7 to 2.8. It is a micro four thirds sensor, so that's not going to be a bokeh monster, but that means you're going to get some good light in. It has image stabilization. I've taken like sharp photos with this handheld at 1/8 of a second, so that's awesome. Video, so I can give it to my wife and say, hey, could you get some clips of me for the channel? And then just to give her to take some photos, because she doesn't believe it, but she has a great eye, and I love editing some of her photos. And then for me, again, I get an EVF when I need it, so I know I get the focus. I'm catching focus. Again, like a lens. I don't care. I mean, I do care. I do like the design better than the LX100. Had to get a little case because there's no grip on this thing. The LX100 has that beat. It has the nice grip on that. But I was 100% gonna just get an LX100 for the cheaper price until I just happened to come across this one. But the lens itself is made by Leica. And one thing I really enjoy is the fact that it has macro autofocus, so that because I am shooting with Leica, majority of the lenses I'm shooting on are gonna be close focus, minimum focusing distance, I should say, of 0.7 meters, which is about 3 feet. It's basically like 2.7 feet or something like that for those of us in the States. Typically, I look at my arm. This is probably about here. Like this lens is actually 0.8 meters here. Let's grab the M240. This should be here. So if I do this, this should be about 0.7 meters. And here, I got to lean back a little bit, so I'm focus. So with this here, so a little past my arm when I look at that, this is 0.7 meters. So, you know, if I want the focus this close, exactly, I would need this. So I got that here. And with that, again, now that I have this, I feel very comfortable letting M240 go. So if, Allah forbid anything happened to my camera, I still have a backup. So I have it here, but hopefully, you know, I tend to take good care of my cameras, excuse me. I haven't had a camera just break on me or anything like that. So I'm gonna continue to go and treat my camera well as tools, you know, treat it preciously because I spend money on this. So that's it. This is where we're at now. I've sold all my Fuji gear. It's all out of here. The last of my gear is out, has been already shipped and delivered. And Deluxe, M10 Paparazzi, these are gonna be my gear. And if you're gonna be in the market for an M240 and this Light Lens Lab 35 8 element lens, be on the lookout on the forums and on the eBay. Catch you in the next video. Peace.